have willingly put their lives on the line for their faith, but rather unsuspecting victims of demented crimes. I believe in a Heavenly Father who loves His children and wishes good for us all, and while I do not believe God caused these things to happen to these people, my struggle in my faith is why He could have helped but did not intervene. So, my question is this: if God did not protect those people and innocent children who were tortured, while some even cried out to God to save them, how do I have faith that God will protect me? I want to believe, but I feel like the man in the Bible who said to Jesus, "I believe, but help me with my unbelief." The question returns. I have had some personal experience with pain, broken bones, minor surgeries, a life-threatening auto accident, though I've learned far more by listening to others' stories. When my wife worked as a hospice chaplain, often over dinner she would recount conversations with families who were coming to terms with death. We ate food spiced with tears, and as a journalist I heard heartbreaking stories from many others. Parents grieving over their gay son's suicide, a pastor enduring the steady onslaught of the disease ALS, Chinese Christians reliving the brutality of the Cultural Revolution. Because I keep revisiting the theme of suffering, I am sometimes asked to speak on the question of my first book, Where is God When It Hurts? I will never forget the day I toured the makeshift memorials that had sprung up like wildflowers on the campus of Virginia Tech, and then stood before 1,000 students, oh so young, their faces raw with grief over the loss of 33 classmates and faculty. Or on an eerily similar scene the following year, when I planned to speak on an unrelated topic in Mumbai, India, until the terrorist attack on the Taj Mahal Hotel and other sites forced a change in venue and a change in topic, back to the question that never goes away. In 2012, I spoke to groups on that question 3 times, in the most daunting circumstances. One event followed a catastrophic natural disaster. One took place in a city ravaged by war. The third was closest to home, and for me, the most poignant. In March, I stood before congregations in the Tohoku region of Japan on the first anniversary of the tsunami that slammed into land with the velocity of a passenger jet, snapping railroad tracks like chopsticks, and scattering ships, buses, houses, and even aeroplanes across the ravaged landscape. In its wake, with 19,000 dead and whole villages swept out to sea, a busy secular nation that normally has no time for theological questions thought of little else. In October, I spoke on the question in Sarajevo, a city that had no heat, fuel, or electricity and little food or water for 4 years while sustaining the longest siege in modern warfare. 11,000 residents died from the daily barrage of sniper fire and from the shells and mortars that fell from the sky like hail. One survivor told me, "The worst thing is, you get used to evil. If we knew in advance how long it would last, we would probably have killed ourselves. Over time, you stop caring. You just try to keep living." As 2012 drew to a close, I accepted perhaps the hardest assignment of all, not in terms of quantity of suffering. Can it ever be quantified? But in the sheer intensity of horror and intimate grief. The weekend after Christmas, I addressed the community of Newtown, Connecticut, a town reeling from the senseless slaughter of 20 first-graders and 6 of their teachers and staff. A first responder captured the mood. "All of us are volunteers," he said. "I've seen some awful things, but we don't train for something like this. Nobody does. And my wife is a teacher at Sandy Hook Elementary School. She knew all 20 children by name, as well as the staff. She was 3 steps behind the principal, Dawn Hopsprung, when Dawn yelled, 'Go back! It's a shooter!' After hiding out during the shootings, she had to walk past the bodies." He paused a moment to control his voice, then continued, "Everyone experiences grief at some